Hey, this is Kelly from the future. Already finished this video. It's not my favorite. The owner of this DRZ400 asked me to tune this because it just wasn't quite running right. It was down on power. He said it had been sitting for a while, so in this video, I go step by step diagnosing rich and lean jetting symptoms, rebuilding the carb, troubleshooting new problems that I've never run into. So if you want something that goes up and down, and one of my more frustrating videos, maybe you don't even want to watch this. I don't even really want to post this, but here goes. Definitely boggy. Let it warm up, go for a quick test ride. Really doesn't sound that bad. It idles really nice. Just a little bit of bag firing. Doesn't have a ton of power, but I mean, it's just a DRZ400. It even has pretty good throttle response. Interesting. Let's do a hot start. Fires right up. Huh. Well, I guess I'm not sure what the huge problem is other than the backfiring. It's a little bit lean, probably on the fuel screw, so we will pull that off and see what we got. All right, got the carb clean, new fuel screw, O-ring, and washer. Turn the gas on, pull the choke out. We'll see if it runs. Hopefully the battery's strong enough. Keep it on half choke. Let it warm up. Ew. Yeah, maybe full choke. Turn the idle up a little bit. hanging idle and backfiring. That means it's running really lean. So, oh, nice. We're gonna need to richen that up. I think we're gonna need a bigger pilot jet. Alright, I have the fuel screw at 2 turns out. I'm going to open it up to 3 full turns out. Alright, should be at 3 turns out. Definitely better. Still some backfiring. Turn the idle down a little bit. Definitely better. We're gonna go a little bit more out on it, even though I don't like to go more than 3 turns out. I just want to see if going out more will help it. At about 4 turns out now. Let's take it for a quick test ride. Definitely feels better. It's still a little bit lean on the low end, hence the cracking, popping. We've got the stock size 22.5 pilot jet in there still. The fuel screw is at 4 turns out, and it runs better than when it was at 2 and 3 turns out. So that means it wants more fuel, because the more you open it up, the more fuel is going through that pilot jet circuit. And the reason the pilot jet circuit is helping on that backfiring on deceleration is because when you let off the throttle, it shuts off the fuel supply, and pretty much the main circuit that's supplying fuel when you shut it off is the pilot jet, and the fuel screw is the fine-tuning adjustment of the pilot jet. And generally, I don't like to go more than 2.5, 3 turns out on the fuel screw, because it doesn't always make a difference, and because there's not as much pressure on the spring, which means the fuel screw could loosen up and fall out. So we need to go at least 1 size bigger on the pilot jet. So from 22.5 up to 25. However, since it's maxed out on the fuel screw and it's still too lean, generally I've figured out that going up 2 sizes is generally the best practice. Otherwise, going up to that 25, even though it's richer, still might not be enough. You might still be maxed out at 3 turns when it runs best. So going up to the 27.5 might be best. However, I may not do that just because it's almost winter here in Minnesota. The temperature is maybe 40 degrees, and I'm guessing the owner is not going to be riding it at 40 degrees most of the time. So 25 pilot jet might be best, because as the temperature goes up and the humidity goes up, the bike is going to naturally run richer. So if I go to that 27.5, it may run really well right now when it's 40 degrees and low humidity, but when it gets into the summer, when it's 70, 80, 90 degrees, and 50 to 80% humidity, it's not going to run as well. It's going to be too rich. Well, I end up getting a 25 and a 27.5 pilot jet. I had a 22.5. I put the 27.5 in just because it was really lean. I'd rather go too far than not enough, just to confirm whether it's the right size or not. So reset the fuel screw to 1.5 turns out. So we will see how it starts and runs. Ooh, almost fired. Nope. Probably need to turn the idle up since it's richer. We'll leave it on. Half choke, not backfiring. Turn choke all the way off. Turn the fuel screw out to 3 turns because it's still backfiring a little bit. That is very close to perfect. Yeah, it's still just a touch lean. That's why it's backfiring a little bit, but it's maybe 45 degrees. So once it warms up to 60, 70, 80 degrees, this thing should run mint. When I swapped the pilot jets and put the carb float back on, I noticed that the gasket was too big. It wasn't sealing properly. So when I was testing it that last time, it was leaking, which means that it soaked up some of the gas. I don't know what gas is in the tank. If it's ethanol, that doesn't surprise me at all. It'll soak that up and make it big. So my first test is putting it in the freezer here. Looks like it's still too big. It's a little bit big there. It's in line there. And then it gets too big on this side. So I got the gasket all heated up. It's pretty close in size now. Got it all fitted in there. It got a little out of shape some spots. So just to keep it down, I added some grease all around it, trying to keep it out of the bowl itself. But it looks like it should stay, and I'm hoping it'll seal all the gas now. Well, I had the customer come pick up the bike, and I hate to say it, but they were not 100% satisfied. I had him take it for a test ride, and he came back and said that the symptom that he had felt was still about the same. So I had him describe it to me in best detail as he could. He said previously the bike had been running good when he first got it, but the way he described it was kind of a surging when he was like quarter throttle accelerating, and apparently it was still like that when he came to pick up the bike. Good thing I had him test it because I thought the bike started and ran great, and the acceleration wasn't quite as smooth, or I should say snappy. There's kind of like a slight hesitation compared to a typical carburetor, and it didn't seem bad to me because I thought that was just from the CV carburetor, because the throttle slide opens up with engine vacuum, and it's been a while since I've ridden one of these DRZ400s. But he still said there was a little bit of a surge, and he wasn't 100% satisfied. So I just told him, man, I'm sorry for you coming out here. Thankfully, it wasn't a far drive, so I just said, no, keep your money. I will keep the bike. I will get it right. Your satisfaction is important to me. I don't want to give you back a bike that is the same or not much better than it was before. I need to get this figured out. Otherwise, you shouldn't have to pay me. So I went back to the drawing board, tried to think, well, what else could be causing that? Because I knew it was slightly too lean. Because the weather is colder, I'd gone 2 sizes richer on the Pilot Jet, which is a big jump. I didn't think I'd have to go that far, and it was still running a little bit lean. I thought it'd get better in the summertime because it was 40 degrees, and now we got 25 degrees and snow. So when I was thinking, well, there is that air cutoff valve assembly, which essentially, when you shut off the throttle, it closes the valve so that there's not an excess of air, which causes that backfiring on deceleration. It didn't have any tears in it, but it did look a little bit worn, so I ordered a new one of those, and I'm hoping that's going to fix it. Otherwise, I may have to go even richer on the jetting, which, I don't know, I don't like going more than like 2 sizes richer than stock. That makes me think that something else is causing the problem. The float height looked good, but maybe I'll have to look into that too. So thankfully I didn't have to take anything off to get access to the air cutoff diaphragm here. You can see the old one versus the new one here. This is OEM Suzuki part, so it looks like this is OEM as well. Not sure if it's original or not. It may be. You can tell there's obvious signs of wear, but I inspected all around, front and back. I do not see any tears, but I'm just hoping that for some reason it's not sealing properly, allowing an air leak there, causing it to run lean, causing that surging and excessive backfire. So hopefully it'll start when it's 25 degrees out. It doesn't like that, even half choke. Well, 2 things I'm noticing. One, it seems like the backfire is less, which is a really good sign because it's even colder now, which means it should be running even leaner, meaning more backfiring. So that is a good sign, but it's still too lean. So I'm going to try going to the next size bigger. Actually, no, I'm going to try 2 sizes bigger Pilot Jet and see how it runs. Alright, just changed Pilot Jets from 27.5 all the way up to 32.5. It's another 2 Pilot Jets richer. I don't really like going that rich, but we'll see if it fixes it. If it doesn't, and it's still too lean, then there's got to be something else going on here. Reset the fuel screw to 1.5 turns out, kind of the standard position. I don't know, it's still backfiring. I mean, it's okay if there's a little bit with this open exhaust, but it's still popping pretty loud, so I don't think the problem is fixed. I tried spraying around the carb, the intake manifold, anywhere where there might be air leaks, and the idle didn't change at all, which means that there probably isn't an air leak around the carb or intake. The owner said he did check the valves, but he wasn't 100% sure that he did it right, so I may have to check the valves because I believe tight valves can cause backfiring. Maybe I'll go for a quick test ride and see how it runs. Let me try one more thing. Now, I thought it was because I still had it on prime for the fuel petcock. I thought it might not be getting enough fuel, so I turned it to reserve, which should give it plenty of fuel, and it's still popping. I guess there is one other thing that I can check or try, and that would be fresh fuel. I'm not sure how old this is. It smells a little bit old, so it could just be bad fuel. I mean, I hate to say it, but I probably should have swapped the fuel, some fresh fuel to begin with, just to rule all that out. So I should actually try draining this and get some fresh fuel. Let's do that, actually. After doing some more testing, trial and error, I noticed that it's more of a mid-range bog. You can hear it here. I'm rolling on the throttle, and like quarter to three-quarter throttle, it's bogging, backfiring, and surging, making me think it's really lean. So I tried adding shims to underneath the needle clip because the stock one is not adjustable. So adding a couple shims essentially richens the needle clip position by about one position if there were adjustable slots on there. It didn't seem to make any difference. Some people are saying that the stock jetting is awful, it's really lean, and just go to an aftermarket jet kit like the GD jetting or the dyno jet. But I'm not sure if that is the main problem because the owner said that it didn't run this bad before. It started happening, and I'm trying to figure out what is causing that before I throw another $80 to $90 at it, which might not even fix it anyway. So I'm going to start digging into electrical stuff. Perhaps the stator or regulator rectifier is going bad. And then I'm also going to do a quick air test, which I got a tip on since I haven't had too much experience with these CV carbs because the throttle slide is vacuum controlled, so it needs air to open the throttle slide. So there is an inlet on the intake side that you can blow into with some compressed air, and that should raise the throttle slide. If it doesn't, that means it's leaking. I'm going to test that, even though I looked at the diaphragm and it looked soft and good with no tears, but might as well test it anyway. Got the throttle off here, or the carb off here. I got some compressed air. I'm going to test this throttle slide here. So I'm just going to blow it in these two top holes. You don't need a whole lot. You can see the throttle slide going up with air. That is a good sign. That means that the diaphragm up here is in good working condition. On to the next thing, unfortunately. Right here's the connector for the stator. To test this while the bike is not running, I'm just testing for resistance. You can check the service manual for the specs. I believe it's 0.1 ohms between each one, so you just take either wire. You got 1, 2, 3. You just check 1, 2, 1, 3, and then 2, 3, and they all should check 0.1 ohms. So we'll turn it to the ohms here, down to the lowest 200. Make sure it's on common, and the ohms, kind of like an upside down U. So right now it's OL, that means it's open. There's nothing going on there. I believe the DRZ400 is 0.1 ohms. We'll do the 1 and 2. Here we got 0.9. Then we'll do 1 and 3. We got 0.8. And we'll do 2 and 3, we got 0.8. So if that were way high, like 50 or 200, that would mean there's way too much resistance and there's something wrong with the stator or the stator wiring. Now you can also check, make sure there's no major resistance. Actually, I believe for the broken wire, you gotta test this, each one with a ground on the chassis or like the negative battery cable. So you can just touch this to a screw on the engine and it should read OL or OF for all of them. We go 1, 2, and 3. So OL for all of them. That is a good sign. There's no open, no breaks in the wiring. And then I also tested the battery voltage. That was 12.6, which is good when the engine's off. When it was idling, you can test just the same way. 1, 2, 1, 3, and 2, 3 with the voltage. I was getting about 35 volts at idle, and then when revving it up, it was 70, 80, 90, 100 for each and every one of them. And if one of those was way off, like it was way low, that means there's a problem with the stator. But all of them checked out good, so I think the stator on this is good, which means I'm going to be taking the carburetor all the way apart again, see if I can find any other problem with it. Woohoo! So what am I doing differently on this second carb rebuild attempt? Well, not a whole lot, but okay, so this spot right here, that is where this O-ring sits. So I'll put the O-ring on there. Even though it's not cracked or hard, I'm not sure if this is the right O-ring because it is flush or even below the surface, so that might not even be sealing properly, because on the cap it goes to right here, which goes to the top, which controls the vacuum. So if this O-ring is causing a slight bit of an air leak, that could be contributing to it. And then also, the first time around, I forgot to remove and inspect the pilot air jet right here. To be honest, I didn't even know this existed because I don't have as much experience with these CV carbs. A few more parts that control the air-fuel ratio, and I believe the pilot air jet just controls how much air is going into the pilot jet circuit. But looking through that, it's a pretty clear hole. I don't think that's dirty, and it looks like that passage for the pilot air jet is going into this air cutoff diaphragm, which I did replace. I got the old one right here. I don't think that's causing the problem because it's clean, but I'll take it out, I'll clean it, and since this is open, it'll get a better cleaning as well. I'm not sure if I had this off, which is part of the needle jet, and the main jet goes in there. So the main jet, so this holds the main jet, but then the needle, it goes down through that, and I just wanted to see if this O-ring was still good, and it appears to be good. There's no cracks, it's not hard, it's not flattened. These holes are clear, and I'm not seeing any ovaling. It doesn't appear to be oval, although it doesn't take much. But then again, if it was oval, too much fuel would be flowing past it, causing it to run rich, and it doesn't seem to be rich because when I did a throttle test, it bogged worse when I took the side panel off, allowing more air, and it bogs less when I cover it back up, as well as turning the choke half on. So it wants more fuel and or less air. So it's definitely lean. But we'll keep digging into this, figure it out eventually. For this top cap O-ring, so we got the original on the bottom here, and then I have a set of O-rings, just an assortment here, really nice and handy sometimes, on the top. So it's thicker. The diameter is really close, and it's a lot thicker, so I think that should work. Whether it fixes the problem or not is yet to be determined. Alright, so I was just about to put this main jet holder in the bottom here, and I noticed that the O-ring on there when I screwed it in, it was kind of not staying in put, and it was spinning. It was like folding around, and there it is, the tiniest of tears right there. I don't know if that was already there or I caused it, or maybe I made it worse, but in any case, I want to rule this out as well. So I put a new one on. It's a tiny bit smaller, but it should still seal it properly. In fact, the one that's on there, I'm not even sure that was the right size. So let's put this on, rule it out. Well, this has turned into a troubleshooting nightmare as well. Lots of hours researching, trying to figure out what else could be causing this problem. I think I already covered that I went through the carb again, fully cleaned it, all the jets, thought I inspected everything. I made some more jetting changes yesterday. So I had the 32.5 pilot. I tried the adjustable needle that I got. It's a JD Jetting knockoff kit. I wasn't sure of the quality, but for the price, figured might as well try it. Since I thought it was running lean in the mid-range, I tried the 4th clip position at first, about the same, and then I tried the bottom clip position, the 5th. That's the max richest that it can go. And in addition to that, I also went up to a 155 main jet and then a 170 because I thought the symptom was getting better. Just revving it here on the stand. I didn't take a test ride until yesterday. Tried that 5th clip position, 170 main, even the 32.5 pilot. All of that was too rich. It started to idle lower and even died, even with fuel screw at half a turn out. The mid-range surging was still kind of there, and then I actually didn't even test long. I did a full throttle test after it warmed up, and it just bogged out under full throttle, so had to push it back. Checked the spark plug. It was fouled, so had to go get a new spark plug. And then I tried the OEM needle again with 2 shims under it to richen it up. Backed the main jet down to 155. It revved out fine. It runs almost perfect. Oh yeah, and it went down to the 27.5 pilot as well. So everything is leaner, although the needle has the 2 shims under it to make it richer. But it runs almost great everywhere. But when rolling on and holding a steady throttle, about half throttle, 2nd, 3rd gear, probably 6,000-ish RPM, it's still kind of surging while cruising down the road. If you just hold it there. Full throttle, it revs out fine. Low RPM, cruises nice and smooth. It's just that one point, like a 2,000 RPM range at half throttle. There's one thing that I found. A guy had an XR650R back 15 years ago, and it sounded like he had a very similar problem, and he ended up finding that the petcock, gasket from the petcock, it started to disintegrate, and there was some material lodged in the fuel inlet of the carb. So once he got that out and ran it, revved it up a few times, and it cleared out. So I'm going to check that next. But also, another guy with the DRZ400S mentioned that he had a very similar problem, and it ended up being the throttle slide or vacuum slide diaphragm. Just doing that air test where I shoot the air in the holes in the inlet of the carb and the slide goes up, apparently that wasn't good enough because he pulled the slide out, it looks okay, but looking really closely against a light source, he noticed in the crease, I believe, there were 3 tiny pinholes, and it must have been allowing just enough air, causing an air leak to get by to make it run lean at a certain RPM range. So those are the next 2 things I'm going to check out. Hopefully it's one of them. just tried another needle test. I went back to the OEM needle with 4 shims under it, just to make it as rich as possible. I tried 5, couldn't fit it in there. The retainer cap thing kept popping off, so 4. It made the symptom a little bit better, but still not where it should be. So last thing to replace is the vacuum slide diaphragm here. It's this rubber diaphragm on top, just held in by the circlip. I already inspected it multiple times. Someone said they had a similar symptom, and it had a few pinholes. I looked at it as best as I could up to a light source. I couldn't see any pinholes, but just because I haven't replaced it, bought a new one anyway just to see if it works. Otherwise, I got a different carb, another Mikuni OEM carb. The customer brought it. It was off of his buddy's bike. That apparently it runs good. So if this doesn't work, the new diaphragm, I'm going to swap carbs, see if that fixes it. If that fixes it, then we know there's something up with this carb here. Take the clip off, carefully peel it off. We got the old one versus the new one. Old one's shinier. Looks like it's probably better quality, but just in case it has pinholes, we're going to try this new one. And I'll remove a couple of shims here. New test with a different carburetor, supposedly from the same bike, DRZ400S, and I have no idea what the jetting is, but supposedly it runs good, so we'll see how it runs on this bike. Oh, forgot to finish hooking up the throttle. Alright, let's try that again. New carb. Still has popping, not a big deal, but I didn't notice the surge in second and third gear, cruising at mid to high RPM, half throttle. Let's try it again. Doesn't have the surging problem, so it's got to be the carb. I don't know. This is frustrating. I don't know what else to change. Yeah, I mean, you should just be able to hold it there like that, and it doesn't make any weird surging, popping, hesitating, bogging, anything. It just revs smoothly. I mean, I shut the fuel off, so it's running out of fuel. It's going to be running a little lean. But, man, this is annoying. Like, what did I miss? What did I not do on this carb here that makes it to surge, but it's not doing it on this one? I don't get it. What do you think? Well, I just let the customer know what's happened. Gave him a couple options. I could try tearing the carb apart again, rebuilding it, cleaning it, just inspecting it one more time. Or I could just give it back to him, put his car back on, and just charge him for the parts that I have into it, and that's it. And I'm really just frustrated that I wasn't able to figure it out. He did choose, he just wants to pick it up, and the symptom is better, but it's not 100%. It's not up to my satisfaction. But I don't know, maybe since it got worse, he said, from the bike sitting over the winter, maybe it's still just a little bit dirty, and maybe he takes it and rides it this summer and it clears out and it runs great again. That'd be awesome. But I don't feel comfortable charging a labor fee because I didn't execute on that. So I really don't even want to post this video, but yeah, not everything in life is perfect, so this is just going to be a learning experience, and maybe I'll learn new ways to attack this specific carb as well as future carbs. Yeah, I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. This is Kelly Fager from MXHideout. Ride safe. Have fun.